Imagine this. You're sitting in the therapist's chair. You're telling him a story you haven't even thought of in years. You're 10 years old again, standing in the doorway of your childhood kitchen. Your father is laughing with his friends, but the laughter has an edge that only you can hear. You know what comes after. You flinch at that thought. In the dream you had last week, you saw the same kitchen, but the colors are all wrong. The walls are pale, sickly green, and a strange animal sits at the table, watching you. It has the body of a dog and the head of an owl, but its eyes are human, and they never leave yours. You feel it studying you, waiting for you to make a wrong move. Part of you wants to run. Part of you wants to give in and just sit beside it, just to make the staring stop. You wake up with your heart pounding, the animal's gaze still burning in your mind. As you say this out loud, a flicker of recognition passes through you. You know this creature. It's the vigilance you've carried for years. It's the constant scanning for danger, the way you tense before anyone can hurt you. For a moment, you see it all clearly. You see how the vigilance has kept you safe, but also how it's kept you alone and scared. It's almost unbearable to look at. And then it is. Your eyes drop. You tell yourself it's just a strange dream, probably nothing important. You change the subject. You go back home. You reach for your distraction. Then you reach for your addiction. You self-sabotage. You just broke the mirror. Let me explain. Breaking the mirror is a metaphor I'm going to use throughout this video. We often imagine breaking the mirror as an act of sudden anger or violence, but it can also be something quieter. It's the half second where we turn away from an image of ourselves that feels too sharp, too revealing, too painful. We do it because it feels safer. In order to overcome self-destructive tendencies, we have to see ourselves for who we are and become sensitive to what we're doing to ourselves. This requires looking in the metaphorical mirror with clarity, not reactivity. Yet so often when we observe ourselves, reactivity kicks in. It's the reflex to protect, justify, distract, or deny, and we break the mirror before the truth has had time to register. Breaking the mirrors that expose our vulnerabilities can feel like relief for a while, but without the opportunity for candid reflection, we lose ourselves sooner or later. And then we go down the same self-sabotage spiral again and again. The question then is, would you rather break the mirror or break the cycle? Breaking the cycle means having the courage to look at ourselves long enough and accurately enough to know how, when, and why we slip into the moods and behaviors that harm us. In The Inner World of Trauma, Donald Kalsched writes about this in the context of early wounds. He noticed that some of his patients, when a tender memory surfaced in therapy, would suddenly attack themselves in thought or pull sharply away from the conversation. It was as if some part of them decided that feeling the truth was more dangerous in that moment than burying it. Kalsched calls this the self-care system. It's an inner protector of sorts, meant to shield the vulnerable self from further harm. He says, like the immune system of the body, the self-care system carries out its functions by actively attacking what it takes to be foreign or dangerous elements. Vulnerable parts of the self's experience in reality are seen as just such dangerous elements and are attacked accordingly. So the self-care system can turn into a self-destruct system, which turns the inner world into a nightmare of persecution and self-attack. In other words, a lot of self-sabotage is an attempt at self-soothing. It's the nervous system reaching for immediate relief, even if it means trading away the future where healing is possible. The paradox is that the same instinct that once kept us alive can become the very thing that stops us from living fully. It's like an old guard dog that keeps barking long after the burglars left. And because this protector is part of us, it can be hard to recognize when it's working against our own healing. The temptation to turn away is powerful because our nervous system is designed to avoid pain. Emotional pain lights up many of the same brain regions as physical injury. Just as you would reflexively pull your hand away from a hot surface, you instinctively recoil from a painful truth. For our ancestors, this quick recoil was adaptive. Too much open vulnerability in a harsh social environment could mean expulsion, exclusion, or danger. But in the inner world, the same reflex can cut us off from what we most need to see. The task then is not to strip away all defenses, they exist for a reason, but to study them patiently, to learn when they're serving us and when they're keeping us trapped. We have to regain compassion for the parts of ourselves we have exiled, to notice without judgment the exact moment we start to look away, and to keep our gaze steady for just a little bit longer each time. Kalshit describes what happens when the innocent, hidden parts of us are able to merge into consciousness. He says, we start to suffer true grief. True grief is feeling the pain held in the innocent parts themselves. When we open to this deeper pain with self-compassion, we begin to cry the tears that reconnect us to our essence. In time, we discover a new sense of aliveness and healing. True grief is uncomfortable. It's also the beginning of transformation. It's the mirror showing us not only our wounds, but our humanity so that we can become whole again. Now, becoming whole does not mean wallowing in every single difficult feeling. It means allowing the truth enough space to register before you decide what to do with it. It means recognizing when your inner protector is about to shut the door and saying to it, "It's okay. I understand what you're doing now." It means letting the conversation between the protector and the vulnerable self happen, rather than silencing one side entirely. Over time, this creates a kind of inner reconciliation. The protector learns that the vulnerable self no longer lives in constant danger. The vulnerable self learns that it can speak without being attacked. And you, standing between them, learn that you can witness your own reflection without turning away or breaking the mirror. It's a slow practice for sure, but there are ways to strengthen it. For example, when someone points out a flaw or a misstep, pause before responding. Notice the rush of defensiveness or denial that comes up. Write about your experiences uncensored before you tie them up for your own comfort. Pay attention to your body. Tension in the jaw, tightness in the shoulders or gut is often the first sign that you're bumping up against the mirror. Imagine the part of you in the mirror as younger and more fragile than you feel now, and speak to it with the compassion you would offer a child. Let trusted friends or therapists hold the mirror steady when you can't. Remember, the mirror is not your enemy. It's just the messenger. Smashing it spares you nothing in the end. It only blinds you to what's already there. And keeping it intact creates the possibility for reflection and what Kalshit calls a new sense of aliveness. The old protector rests. The vulnerable self breathes. And the person you see, raw, imperfect, unvarnished, is someone you can finally look at and say, "I see you, and I'm not turning away from you." Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.